How we doing?
We're
Why are you
good.
laughing? Why are you laughing?
Because I have gotten into so much trouble from you today, and
I know.
I love it. I love it.
I,
But we
I don't know why
were
you love
on
it.
getting me into trouble and not on what the topic is. So I'm really excited because I get to find out what the topic is with everybody else.
Here's the thing. Based on our most recent conversation, we are going to have possibly two topics if we have to. But the first topic, I'm going to tell a little bit story, and then I'm going to get your opinion on some things. Tuesday, friends of ours got married. They have been a couple for a bajillion and 12 years. I don't know, since they were like 17, and let's just go with they're not 17 anymore. And they got married. We had to go to the courthouse on Tuesday for this wedding. And we get there, and you have to go through the metal detector. Everything's fine, right? But they make you take off your belt and your watch and your whole shindig. It's basically the airport, a little bit smaller. So I'm putting on my belt and stuff, and this kid walks in, and I say kid, but he was, probably 20. And he walks up to the officer that was there, and the officer immediately says, "Why are you here? Do you know where you're going? What are you doing?" And this kid gets like super flustered, right? And so my partner and I are there, and we kind of take a step forward and we're listening because he didn't ask us a single one of these questions. He did not give a flying patootie what I was there for, who I was there to see. I didn't have a bag, so I guess I did. He didn't have to look in my bag. But I was very, very cognizant that if this went any further, I needed to speak up, right? Now, basically, this kid handled himself, and I keep saying kid, he was 20, but he's more than half my age, so I'm gonna refer to him as that, which I probably shouldn't. Um, but I guess my conversation stop topic to start with is, when do you speak up and when do you let people speak up for themselves, right? And in this regard, I knew that if it had went any further than it did, and this kid felt like he couldn't stand up to the sheriff that was being a total word I can't probably say on Facebook, I was gonna say something. But the kid did end up handling himself, right? He just answered nicely the questions, way nicer than I would have answered these questions. You know what I mean? Um, and went about his merry way. But today's topic is not only resilience when somebody comes at you in those situations, and this guy, this 20-year-old handled it really, really well, but also the resilience of, when do you stick up for somebody else, right? Should I have done it sooner? Was it okay that I waited and just let it go? And he handled it himself. And it's one of those things, like, you never know until after the fact. But that kind of happened on Tuesday, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit.
I think that kind of fits in with part of what had happened this week inside of our community as
Mm,
well, right?
that is true. That is true.
Um, when you have a community, you have to monitor, you have to make sure that everybody is supporting everybody in a very healthy way, as well as you have to balance the different sides of people. Um, but unfortunately, because of those different sides, sometimes it's less safe. Look, I want to acknowledge one thing. We have 4
What?
viewers. 2 of them are in a Zoom party watching right now. They're all in Zoom watching. So it's a
Yes,
Zoom
there.
party. And then we have 2 other viewers. So thank you all for joining. And I'm so excited to see the numbers going up. Back to the topic. When you have to stand up for people and when you have to be in those spaces, when I had to manage what was going on, I removed the thing that could potentially be of consequence. And
Sure.
then I did not engage for the rest of the night because I needed to sleep and I needed to sit on that. And that
Well, you
kind of
needed to process a little bit.
Right,
Right.
exactly. And how do you do these things? And like you said, I probably apologized more than I should have inside of the conversation. But you also, and that comes into, hindsight, or it comes into who am I speaking with and how do I want to perceive. So I really love that, Sophia, I really love that we have that ability, but in the moment, I like that you stepped back and you were like, I'm going to let this person, I was going to say, dude, let this handle himself and give him the space to be where he needs to be. And then if I feel like it's going the wrong way, I'm going to step in, right?
Right.
I think there's a lot of times where people will watch and they won't do anything due to personal, like, saving themselves, or due to, right? And it's hard for you and I.
Well, for me, I'm usually the other way. I speak up way too soon, and like uh, and I don't give a person a chance to defend themselves because I'm always like, I'm gonna do this, fisticuffs. I'm right there, right? Like, and it's sometimes I gotta hold that back. So I was happy I was doing that because you don't need to piss off the sheriff, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know,
Well, and also allowing a
mhm.
young man, perfect word,
There you go.
allowing a young man to grow inside of who he is and to feel confident. Because let's be honest, if a younger person gets protected by an older person, at times that breaks their confidence of if they could have or where they're at. Inside of a community, I'm polyamorous. I'm in a lot of polyamorous communities in different groups, and I feel like they allow conversation to occur that's not safe for the community,
Oh, sure,
right? But
sure.
because most of the community are under the lifestyle instead of naturally, right? Their lifestyle creates these conversations of toxicity. And so
Oh, I see what
those
you're saying.
comments
Sure.
are allowed, and I always step in with the, "Hey, maybe this isn't maybe you're not polyamorous." But, where do you come in? Where do you become a troll? Where do you protect people? Where do you not? And when you're able to voice your concerns and to stand up for somebody you don't even know is
Hmm.
huge. But there's so many people who will just watch, and they don't want to be a troll, or they don't want to piss off the sheriff, or maybe even they don't have the confidence in themselves because
Yeah.
they don't know how to stand up for themselves. And you and me both, we go at it all the time because we're great at it. But
I'll give
we
my opinion whether you ask for it or not. So it's all
exactly.
good.
And I always take as much as I can get, and I give as much as I take. But when you look at that situation, you allowed him to grow. And
Hmm.
when you add that into business, Nathan Bourne, the CEO of MyCore, he always says that you do it now and fix it later. You make the decision, you
Oh,
move
sure.
forward, and you fix it later, right? And I think that's huge, because when you can, this is the decision that was made, this is where I'm going, instead of dwindling inside of do I not, right? And having
Right.
that internal conflict, you're able to move forward. You can apologize for it later, you can correct it, and you can make it right later. In the moment, what needs to happen now? If I need to stand up for another business person, if I need to do these things, I will face my consequences later and decide what we do from there, right? Which is why I slept for an entire day before I was like, I'm going to bed. Bye, guys. I need to think about this. My brain processes while I sleep. So being able to take that space, and unfortunately in your situation there wasn't space.
Right.
You would have, had he not been able to stand up for himself, you would have had to step in
Yes.
without knowing what to say or how to say it correctly. I'm sure you would have said,
I'd have
excuse me, you
figured it
didn't
out.
ask me those things.
I'd
Feel
have
this is
figured it out.
unfair.
I'm
But
not
it's
sure I would have said it in that pleasant of a tone, but it's all good.
but it's huge to be able to be in that space and to
Hmm.
really speak up for what is happening. But I think that we're lucky. And I want to put Jeanette's phrasing up. She says, okay, I speak up when I feel that someone is scared or don't know what, or just scared. Like if they don't know what to do or they're just scared or they're
Hmm.
giving that to her. It's okay that you wanted to just feel the atmosphere. And I love that. And when you think about feeling the atmosphere and you think about all of those spaces, being able to, I was going down a path and then I switched.
Well, being able to discern when you should speak up and when you shouldn't is kind of what we're getting at here. And whether you take a day to think about it, whether you have to do it in a quick manner, having that skill, but also having the wherewithal to do it, the ability to do it is something that I hope everyone can acquire at some point, because we all need somebody to stick up for us at some point, and we should all be willing to do that for people that can't do it for themselves.
And I was going down the track of we're fortunate. We're
Oh, sure.
Americans. We can have
Oh,
this conversation.
that is 100% true.
That was
Uh,
the train that I was going down for
there
sure.
are some environments, but there's also, I mean, take Americans out of it. There's some family environments. There's some situations people are in where they can't stick up for themselves or the people that are around them. So, obviously, if somebody is in danger, yeah, Linda just said, obviously, if somebody's in danger, that is definitely, definitely some time when you would insert yourself. Yes. Um, and I completely agree. But I think with the world of social media, and the world is closing in every single day, the what is it, the 7 steps to Kevin Bacon or something. You can figure out Kevin Bacon's 7 people away, and that's getting lower and lower. Um, we need to even start sticking up for the people we don't know. Like you said, in your one community, right? There's people that just get toxic, and you're like, no, we don't need that here. And I'm kind of making a joke. It's all about love, right? In your groups, and
Polyamorous, many
right.
loves.
That's why I
I
said
know,
that
but
joke,
other
but
people won't understand it, so I had to explain
it's
it.
all about love. And so when you come with like a toxic attitude, it's literally the polar opposite of the message that's trying to be conveyed. And and there's a lot of groups that aren't moderated well. Let's just go with that. And that's one of the things that I know that you and I and Davika have talked about over the last few days is, as your platform grows, making sure that that moderation is there to ensure that that toxicity doesn't come in.
Yeah, and really understanding that we can support businesses,
Oh,
but
yeah,
the we don't have to support the political war, the space, the conversation that is. We can support your podcast, we can support your business, we can support who
sure,
you are as a person. When it comes into those different realms that now become harmful, those things don't need to be brought into the conversation because we're accountability for your business.
right.
We're accountability for who you are. We want to help you progress in your business. Whatever this is something that is culturally put into you and something that you have chosen to be, right? But as a person and as a space, if everybody is kind to each other and everybody really wants to grow and everybody wants to, it doesn't matter how different this is because we can help each other and we can support each other as long as we don't bring this into that conversation. If
Sure.
I grew up in a family, half of my family were severe racists. I didn't speak to that side. I grew up seeing them and how they treated people. And I was able to create my life better or, in a different space. But I would watch them bring that into every conversation. and there's a way to separate yourself when you're conducting business. We had a conversation earlier with somebody who is amazingly gay and just amazing, right? But
Sure.
had we presented them as the amazing flamboyant person that we love, that they might lose some of what is going on.
And I see that. But I want that to be a whole different topic
Yeah.
because I never want somebody to have to feel like they have to hide a portion of themselves. That's not what I mean
Yeah,
by
because you and I are like,
um
let's just do it.
right.
Because we're the people that fight.
Okay. Like let's take on the world. If this means that your picture has a flag in it, then we do it.
Yeah.
Um so like that I think that can be a whole different resilience conversation. I'm perfectly happy to have that. Um I think in this though, it's standing up for if he wanted to have that portrayed and somebody told him he couldn't, we would stand up for that.
Yeah.
I would never want somebody to think they come on the platform and their picture couldn't have a flag in it. In fact, I think I don't know. We probably do
I
we have any
The
we have a
business
logo with a
created a
flag.
logo with
I was
it.
gonna- I know we have a company that has a logo with a flag,
But
the
we
flag colors.
but that was actually created through my business.
Oh,
My
you
business
create
provided
flag?
that. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yep.
didn't know. Um I mean, I know you helped me
An
with the website,
amazing
but I didn't do any of the
An amazing Australian. I had found an amazing Australian Raven, not Raven, her name's Raven, but she's in Australia. She's amazing. She made Davika's um, logo. And yeah,
That's great.
it was Davika and I built it together, and then we gave it to her to do the colors and
Make it
the
pretty.
merging. Yeah, because it wasn't pretty when I did it. But we had the idea and she made it go. So, but that's the thing is when you stand up for people, you stand up for them as soon as possible, but you
Right.
also give them the space to, you want to make sure it's, if it starts flopping, fix it. And we're in a society in most places where we can do that.
Yeah.
My face gives me away 10 minutes before I'm going to blurt out. So if anybody's with me, just watch my face. If you need to hold me back, you'll know 10 minutes before.
See, I don't know if my face says anything, but people are like, if I'm silent for too long, they're fearful to ask me what I'm thinking because at that point, I've been processing whatever you've been saying, and you probably don't want my opinion. So,
Nope, it's all over my face.
yeah.
I appreciate everybody. I am going to get back to this watch party because it is actually a task management. Um, I appreciate all of you so very much. Sarah, I appreciate you for everything that you have done this year inside of all of what we do. So thank you for standing
It's
up for
all
me
good.
and my business because I know that you do that for me every day against me every
Against,
day.
but we
You
do
make
have
sure I do the best. QR codes, that side.
over there.
QR codes, find your path with Sarah. She can help you stand up for yourself, help you build the strong you that you know how to be, and help you take that into leadership. Sarah really wants to create leaders who stand up for people and create a space that they don't have to stand up for people because it's safe and it is good to go. So if you are a leader, if you work in a corporation, if you're a manager, if you're a whatever you are, if you own your own business and you're leading people, over there, QR code, Sarah, we all appreciate you guys. Join us for accountability.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.